Hello and welcome to a new season of Sailing Learning by Doing. It is pretty much real time right now. It is the, 17th of April. Yeah, and we're sort of in the middle of the corona shutdown everywhere, obviously. But we're on the boat here. We're on Schiehallion in Raja Ampat in Indonesia. It's been a bit of an adventure getting back here, but yeah, we'll tell you about that in this episode. That's what it's all about. I want to introduce to you my new crewmate and girlfriend, Marie Morgan from France.
Hello, I'm Marie Morgan. I am from Chamonix in France, and the last year I came on the boat with Vernon for 3 weeks and I really enjoyed it, so I decided this year to follow him for some months on the sailboat and try this lifestyle.
I'm glad Marie was along for the journey so far, because alone it would have been a bit of a nightmare, but we'll tell you more about that now. Okay, so this might be quite a long story with no sailing at all in it, so just get ready for that, but I think it's an interesting story. Anyway, so we were in Europe. We were both working. She was in France, I was in Austria and Switzerland, and then everything started to become, like, wow, the coronavirus. Italy was already sort of shut down, and then the ski resort I was working in Austria, St. Anton, shut down, and then I really realized, well, this is it. It's really gonna, it's gonna impact everything. And for me, just getting back to the boat was the number one thing. That's my home, or our home. We both don't have apartments or jobs in Europe in summer, so that was the main thing. And so we just decided to change our tickets and fly as soon as possible. So basically, we changed our tickets to 2 days later. So that sort of meant quite an upheaval. What do you think about that?
Yeah, for me it was really like overreacting at the beginning, because I had just to quit my job and say I'm gonna not come back and move all my stuff, because I had a flat in Chamonix and I have to take all my stuff to my parent place in 2 days, and yeah, that was pretty crazy.
Yeah, so anyway, we basically just spent 2 days packing all her stuff up and then driving through a few different countries to drop off my rental car and take my snowboard gear and blah blah blah. It all went okay, and we ended up in Zurich at the airport, and we were sort of worried we wouldn't be able to get on the plane because of the corona, but also we only had a one-way ticket to Indonesia, so it was also a bit of a well, are we going to make it? And this whole journey actually was sort of like, oh, what's the next step? Are we going to get past the next step? And it just kept going, and it's still sort of like that a month later. But anyway, so we got on the flight and we flew to Doha. We landed in Doha and we were like, yes, one segment done. Had only a couple of hours in Doha, and then got to Jakarta, and that was the one we were worried about. Are they going to turn us back or not? Before we landed, we had to fill out this health form. It was sort of, to me, just like another customs form, like, have you been here, have you been there? Did that, went through the airport. Everyone had to line up and get their temperatures taken and a piece of this health form taken off, and then the rest was just normal. We just got our bags, went through customs, no one cared, blah blah blah. Got out into the main part and we were like, oh, that was so easy. We didn't expect that. So we went through to the domestic part to buy a ticket to Sarong, and we bought that, no problem at all. And it was a 12-hour wait, so we had a airport hotel just for a few hours to go and sleep, freshened up. We started feeling pretty positive about getting back to the boat. We arrived back at the terminal at midnight, I think. Oh no, 10 o'clock, and our flight was at midnight. And so we lined up at the check-in, and then it all started to sort of unravel. Then we were the only white people in there, and they pulled us out, and people were shouting and screaming. And so anyway, long story short, it turned out that just that day, Sarong, the mayor of Sarong, had done an unofficial lockdown and said to all the airlines, don't let any white people on board, or don't let any Westerns on board, put it that way. So yeah, we were so close to just being in Sarong and back on the boat, but they wouldn't let us on the flight. So we sort of looked at the departures board and asked the guy, well, where can we fly to? And he goes, well, anywhere apart from Sarong. So I sort of looked through, and like half an hour later there was a flight to Ternate. And I said, can we fly here? And he goes, yep, no problem. So we booked a flight to Ternate, just because I'd been sailing there the year before. I got some good contacts and know some people, and I liked the area, and it was really the closest place to to the boat to Waisai. So yeah, we flew there. And then what happened on the arrival there?
Just like when we arrived, we had to go to the toilet, so I go into the bathroom for the women, and just when I arrived, like all the girls just take the scarf on the face and try to get away with me, so I feel not really super welcoming. Like when we go to take we went to take the bags, and kind of army people just came super fast on us and asked for, I don't know really what they asked, just like want a lot of information and why we were here, and not really happy to see us.
Yeah, they were straight away just on us, like boom, like mosquitoes. And yeah, and they took us into the health office and took temperatures, and basically they just wanted to find out what we were doing there and how come. And I said, well, we were allowed to fly, and we were trying to get back to Waisai, and so they ended up saying, well, there's a ship leaving from Ternate to go to Sarong tonight, you could get on that. They were just being helpful to try and get rid of us. And so we're like, yeah, perfect, that's all we want to do. And so they put us in a taxi, and we went in a taxi down to the harbour, waited about an hour in line to get to this ferry, and it all looked good again, like we thought we were going to get on, and it came to the payment part, and suddenly they just took a long time. We were waiting at the window, and then it was like, could you come into the back office please? And I was just like, oh. They went in and they said, sorry, we can't sell you this ticket, you're not allowed to go to Sarong. The mayor of Sarong has made an artificial lockdown, but we have to stick to it. And so we were like, damn it. And we sort of just gave up a little bit, like, okay. So I rang my friend Adi, who owns the Meti Cottage. I've done a couple of videos from there. Beautiful place, and I said, hey, can we just come and do quarantine at your place, settle this all down. We thought if we do quarantine we'll get a health certificate and everything will be easier. And he was like, yeah. So he rang up the health department, the local health department there, and organised it. He came over and got us, and it all sort of got official then, that the health department came to where we were staying and made us fill everything out. And that's where the little health certificate that we filled out on the plane, I just sort of chucked mine away in the first place, because I was like, well, we got out of the airport, we don't need it anymore, and no one had said we have to keep it. And suddenly that was a massive issue, because I didn't have my health certificate, even though it was just a health certificate that I'd filled out and put whatever I'd want on, like it was nothing official, no stamps, nothing. It was suddenly I didn't have one and she did, and suddenly I was like the suspect one. But anyway, so they took out all our details, and so we were on the system as potential coronavirus people. Anyway, so we caught a 3-hour taxi ride up to Meti, and there we did our 14-day quarantine there. What are your memories of Meti?
Really beautiful place, like crazy paradise. Just it was a bit the stress for me, because we had to check the temperature like 3 times per day, and the health official think you are sick if you have more than 37.5.
Yeah.
And like they don't really know how to use the temperature thing. So sometimes it's super low and they think it's super good, but technically you should be sick if you at this temperature.
We're at 35.2 some days, and you're like, yeah, you're actually really sick if you have that cold temperature. But
so yeah, it was a big stress, because you don't really know if sometimes it's just because you are under the sun and they would take the temperature, it would be too high. Yeah,
but I mean, it was great, and thanks very much, Adi, for doing all that. I know you had to pull a few strings, so because Meti was closed down, there was no more tourism, but so that was really nice of him. And the food there is amazing, and we weren't under complete lockdown, because it was really Meti is sort of an isolated place. There's no village close by. We were allowed to, just stay within the bounds of it, but we could go swimming when we wanted, and we could take the canoe out for a paddle and even go for a walk in the coconut groves and stuff. So I mean, it was really, really cool. We were just under stress, but I guess all of you guys know that you're all under lockdown. You just, even if it's really nice, you just want to be free, like we want to be free. And there was mosquitoes there that were bugging me. I got a few sores starting to pop up, and I think it was just yeah, we were just under stress. But you know, don't feel sorry for us. Everyone's under that thing at the moment. So anyway, towards the end of this 2 weeks, we started looking at possibilities to get back to the boat. We sort of thought in the beginning, oh, we'll have this document saying we're safe and they'll take us back and blah blah blah. But no, it wasn't like that. Everything was locked down. There was no official way to get back to Raja Ampat. It was impossible. We even looked at chartering a plane, and we looked at all different options. And in the end, we couldn't keep staying at Mehdi because it wasn't free. It was quite, it's quite expensive. Like if you're staying there for months at a time, anyway. And we just wanted to get back to here, to the boat. This is our home. It's the only thing I own, really. It's just home. It's where I want to be. So I just sort of, one day when we just tried everything, I was just like, all right, bugger it. And so I sent a message out on WhatsApp to a few different boats that I knew were still in Raja Ampat saying, right, I'll pay $2,500 to anybody who sails over, picks us up and brings us back to Raja Ampat. And that was about a 2-day sail each way, so 4-day round trip. And 3 people wrote back pretty quickly and said, hey, we'll do it. And they're short of money, and also helping out a fellow sailor, I think, was a bit of a motivation. So that was super cool. So we picked an old Canadian guy, Jim. He's been sailing, for 30 years, I think, mostly by himself. Nice boat. And so yeah, he just didn't really ask many questions. He just said, all right, I'm setting off. He put some diesel in, got some food, and he picked us up the day after our quarantine finished. He didn't set foot on land. We just said goodbye quickly, jumped in his dinghy, went on his boat, and we turned around, and he'd sailed 2 days without sleeping. So basically we got out of the channel and then he went to sleep, and I just we basically motored the whole way. And Marie was, how were you feeling?
Super seasick, and for the first time for me, I never had this before. So yeah, the first day was really terrible. I just puked during 5 hours.
The whole time. I tried to tell her to go downstairs and go to sleep. It's much, just lying flat makes you feel better, but she didn't believe me.
No, I would like to stay in somewhere I can see the sea. And
we'd just come off land for 2 weeks and sort of stressed, and for Maria it was just straight into the movement, and the engine was on the whole time, and it was super hot, and so it just got it. I think once she started being seasick, it didn't really finish anymore. But eventually she got really tired and went downstairs, and then it was much better.
After I slept.
Basically stayed down there for the next 24 hours, right? Slept and just chilled and drank lots of water and started feeling much better. And me and Jim took turns. He slept a bit and then I slept a bit, and we just took turns and basically motor sailed through the whole night, and made it to Waisai in the evening of the second day. Thinking, we were really coming around the corner. I could see the boat and thinking, finally we made it. After all this, we're finally going to be on our boat. And it wasn't quite to be. We anchored outside the ferry terminal here, and Jim put the engine on his dinghy and we jumped in. And then what happened?
We started to hear some people yelling and some really strange noise, and we just realized all the army, health official and cops were all together and just yelling, say no, don't go this way. And they just asked us to come at the entry of the harbor, and just was all with raincoats and plastic gloves and masks and really afraid about us. We have to wait on a bench, and turn by turn ask a lot of questions to us, and yeah,
it was pretty crazy. I mean, it was 8 o'clock at night and we were super tired, and it was just all boom, it was just on us, and they just hated the fact that we were there. They, it was locked down, I understand that, and we sort of sneaked in undercover like ninja style, and they weren't expecting us, and they weren't expecting to see any white people around. But yeah, as I said, this is our home. We were trying to get back. And so anyway, it turned out they let us stay. They couldn't really well kick us out. They couldn't tell Jim to take us back. So we got another 14-day quarantine confined to the boat this time, so it wasn't quite as nice as Medi. We hadn't been swimming. We've been 14 days and today is our last day. Tomorrow we should be able to leave, hopefully, if nothing changes tomorrow. And
we had health exams the first day.
Yeah, we had health exams. You'll see some of the video footage. We had to go to the hospital here, well, 3 times to the hospital. We had to get blood taken twice, and we had to go 3 times because the power kept cutting out, and they wanted to do chest x-rays of us, but the power kept cutting out and they couldn't do the x-rays. But every time they would come pick us up in the ambulance, and this ambulance was all separated with plastic walls and that, and we were in the back, and they kept telling us distancing, but then 3 guys in this tiny little like Toyota Hiace ambulance like sitting like this, and you're like, okay, well that's a lot of distancing right there. But and then the driver also put on this sort of, I like one of those clear like a A4 page that you put your documents in, sort of semi-matte clear. He had one of those over his face, and he was trying to drive, and after 2 minutes of realizing that he couldn't see anything hardly through this thing, he pulled it off and took his gloves off and was like, it's all good. It was quite funny. But I mean, they were taking it seriously, which is good, and there is no cases confirmed here on this island, so I guess something's working. Yeah, and it started off, they took our temperatures every day for about the first 3 days, and then they sort of stopped, and it was just, I think, more that they were punishing us for coming here when we shouldn't be here, and they've left us to ourselves. We send WhatsApp messages to locals to get food and water down here, and then we've just been doing some jobs on the boat, getting it ready to go, filled up with petrol and diesel, and put the sails back on, and fixed the mainsail. Hopefully, fingers crossed it'll last. And yeah, what else have we been doing?
Reading, drawing.
Marie's been doing a podcast. She's doing a podcast in French for some radio stations about her adventures. She'll be doing it throughout this whole season, so any French viewers out there, there'll be a link maybe in this one. I'm not sure the first one will be out yet when this comes out.
It's not sure.
So that's kept her a bit busy, and yeah, the days have sort of just faded in. We're stuck on a 11-meter sailboat. We can leave after dark. We can leave to go up to the showers to have a shower, and other than that, yeah, we've just been sitting on the boat. So the days have all blended in. It's Groundhog Day, 14 days in a row. Yeah, we've had internet. We can, we've got books. We've had things to do. It hasn't been too bad.
Not so bad view.
Yeah, pretty good view, and we've been cooking ourselves and all that sort of stuff. We've had enough food, and it's been good. The work I've done on the boat I could have done in 2 days, but we've sort of just spread it out over 14 days to just 1 or 2 little jobs every day. So our plans for this season were to first go to Warrimuck, the village where I did the art competition last year. There's a link here for anyone who hasn't watched it. To all those people who bought the t-shirts and put money on my PayPal and all that, it's super cool. I ended up getting about $1,500 for the school, which is amazing. The plan was to go there, make a video, do that, and then start heading south and west, go through all Flores and Timor and Sumbawa, all these places, and then end up in Langkawi in October, November. So right now we don't know if we're going to be able to do that. It's really up in the air. We just don't know. None of you guys know whether you're going back to work next week or next month, or whether you can go and watch a football game this year at all. Or, everything's up in the air. But we can leave tomorrow, and so we're just going to go and hang out somewhere pretty remote where there's no villages for a month, no internet, just get away from everything. So we're stocked up with food. We're going to go away. We'll come back in a month, get back online, see what's going on, and make our plans from there. So I wanted to ask all you people at home, especially those obviously who supported the Warrimuck art project. We're sort of stuck in a bit of a hard place with this. So we've got the money and we've got all the art supplies to take back, but as it's a very, very remote village, we don't know if we're ever going to be able to get back there. We don't want to wait here 6 months until everything opens up just to go back to Warrimuck village. And maybe we can't even go there, because the smaller the village, the more... It's strange here. They really believe it's a white man's disease, and you know, the more remote and, let's say, uneducated about world issues places are, the more extreme they are. So we don't want to be in the position to go back there and they just don't want to have us close by, or whatever the case, you know. So I wanted to ask you, what would you recommend we do with this? We can't leave the money and all the stuff with just someone random here to bring. I definitely wanted to make a video of the school to show you that we're bringing this back and show you how stoked the kids are going to be. But yeah, we don't quite know what to do with this situation. Whether it's just to keep the art supplies and the money and come back in a year and just go there then. Obviously some of the kids would have moved on to secondary school or got married or whatever. Don't quite know what to do. So if you've got any suggestions, please write a comment below or hit me up on my email. I'd really welcome your suggestions and ideas on this, because it's a bit of a tricky situation. Thank you to all the patrons. I really expected all of you to cancel it and keep the money for yourselves during this tough time. Really appreciate the fact that nearly all of you have stuck with me through this, and even a few new ones have jumped on board. I'm really stoked. Okay, well that's it for now. Thanks for watching this long tale of our travels. I hope it was at least a little bit interesting to hear about our adventures. We probably you know, did a little bit more than a few people in the last couple of weeks, and I hope none of you get too upset that we traveled during this time, but you just have to realize that we are going home. Many other people were leaving places to go back to their home country. We're actually coming home to our house, to our home, and we took all the precautions we could. Anyway, thanks for watching, and there will be a video coming out very soon. Hope you enjoy. Bye bye.